Hi, good evening, everybody. It is Monday, August 5th, 2019, 5 p.m. If you would all please stand and join me with the pledge, please. The flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. We have Mr. Deutscher.
Yes.
Mr. Pollack.
Present.
Mr. Wilson. I'm sorry. Williams.
Present.
And Ed Zecknow.
Here.
And our attorney, Corey Schaffner. Hello. Okay. Oh, and the Chief Novak. So approval of minutes. We have approval of minutes to go for actually 4 meetings. Everybody's had a chance to see them. Unless there's any changes, I'm looking for approval for June 3rd, June 19th of the executive session, June 19th special meeting, and July 1st regular meeting.
Just to get it on the floor, I'll move the approval, but I do have a couple of things that I would like to interject.
Okay, so I've got a motion to get it on the floor.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Zecknow.
Starting with the June 3 meeting, if we look down under communications and claims, it says Commissioner Pollack made a motion to accept the claims and payroll for May 2019. That should read July 2019. So I would like to have the term May taken out of there and July inserted.
Next.
Next, if you go down to where it says Commissioner Pollack gave an update on the commission budget stating 60% has currently been used, that's fine. But I would like to interject another paragraph after that, and we'll call it late entry colon. An additional $5,000 was added to the original $12,000 under Ordinance 4520, which was passed after this meeting to cover an additional trainee being sent to the South Bend Fire Academy.
Is that the only 2 changes?
Yes, I got something small, I think. Nah, that's good enough.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
The ordinance number?
4520. Yeah, that's good. That's all I've got on that one. Then if you go to the special meeting minutes, June 19th, 2019, and I'll be honest, I'm nitpicking on this one. It says in about the 3rd paragraph, if you count the first line item as a paragraph, a vote was taken, that should read taken, with Commissioner Pollack and Williams voting to deny.
Anything else?
I'm looking. Yeah, that's good enough. That's all I've got.
Okay.
Sorry.
There's a
about that.
motion. We also have with the changes. We're ready for a vote. Any other changes from anyone else? Discussion's closed. We're going to take a vote. Mr. Deutscher?
Yes.
Mr. Pollack?
Yes.
Mr. Zecknow?
I mean, yes as to June 3rd, and then I wasn't at any of the other ones. So, abstain.
And Mr. Williams?
Yes.
And my vote's yes. Minutes are approved. Mr. Pollack, communications and claims, please.
We'll start with the claim. The first claim totals out to $1,488.50. Basic internal parts of that are the fees for the commission, $750, $150 per month. The attorney fee of $500, secretarial fee of $238.50, and I'll move the approval of this communication.
Second.
The approval for claims. Mr. Deutscher?
Yes.
Mr. Pollack?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Zecknow?
Yes.
And yes. Next.
Budget report, the $17,000 was approved, but let me start out with where we were as of July 31, because the $17,000 had not yet been added into the budget, even though that had been approved by the City Council. So as of the July 31st date, we stood at 92% of our budget. And if you look at one of the key ones, which is, I'm sorry, we stood at 72% of our budget. And if you look at the key one, contractual services, we were at 92% of our budget. With the addition of that $17,000, our total budget went from $42,720 to $59,720. That left us at 52% of our budget. And contractual services went from $22,800 to $39,800, and that left us at 53% of our budget. Move the approval of the budget.
Motion by Mr. Pollak,
Second.
second by Mr. Williams. Mr. Deutscher?
Yes.
Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Zagna?
Yes.
And I have one more. This is the budget that I'm submitting for the year 2020. I've given it to the secretary, but I don't think she's been asked yet to update that budget by the controller's department, but she does have it. I'll just read the titles because it's pretty much the same except when you get to contractual services. But salaries and wages, employee benefits, office supplies, other supplies, professional services, which is the attorney obviously, and communications and transportation all pretty much stayed the same. They were within basically 10% of where we're at this year. The big change came about in contractual services, and in contractual services we're asking for $48,000. Split between sending 8 people to the South Bend Fire Academy. And the fee right now for the South Bend Fire Academy is $3,000 per. So if we send 8 people, that's going to be $24,000. And an additional $2,000 per person for their 3-month, 90-day travel and meal expenses. And that's going to total out to $16,000. So I put $40,000 in the budget for that. Now, reason behind that, my expectation, and you know, this is just, it's a thought process that says here's what's happened in the past, here's where we stand, and this is what may happen. We've got expected retirements and transfers. So a retirement would be somebody who had reached the age that he or she eligible to retire. I'm sorry? I'm looking to see if you're going to dispute me. That's fine. That's okay. Somebody who's reached the retirement age and who has fulfilled the correct number of years in order to be eligible for retirement. They also could decide to transfer. So if that happens, we've got to be prepared for that also. I put 5 people in there. Then I put, because of the situation we're going through, 3 individuals in as expected resignations. They would be recruited by somebody, another fire department, a steel mill, wherever. We've had various different recruiting situations. So we've got a total of 8 people in there. This will be the year for promotion exams. I know we're looking at a different system as to how we go about doing it. I've seen a number of estimates. I put 3,000 in there because I kind of split the difference between various estimates that I've seen. So I put 3,000 in there for that. And then this one could be a little bit controversial, but theoretically, when we go through applicant testing, that list is supposed to last for 2 years. For the last 3 times, every other year, we've also had to do physical agility testing, run applicant testing et al. So after 3 years, it pretty much says we're going to have to do it. So I put in there $1,000 for advertising and $4,000 for overtime for the fire department that goes in and administers the ladder climb, the physical agility testing, that type of thing. Came out with contractual services at $48,000. Came out with the total budget at $68,432, which represents a 15% increase over our 2019 amended budget. I move the approval.
And a partridge in a pear tree, right?
Hey, good Lord.
So Mr. Pollak has made a motion for an approval for next year's budget. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Has this already been submitted then, or is it?
No, it has not yet been submitted. The secretary has it because at this point last year we had already submitted it, but there were some problems that were holding up the submission of the budgets this year in the controller's office, so they hadn't been able to do that. So I didn't know exactly when they were going to require her to submit it, so I gave her this budget so she could, whenever they required her, she could go ahead and do it.
They're just starting the process of submitting it, so it's going to open up here pretty soon.
So I have a first and a second.
Mr. Deutsch is yeah.
You second. Okay, so we have the first, we have the second. Roll call, Mr. Zachdown,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Mr. Pollock
Yes.
and Mr. Deutsch.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Pollock?
No, that does
Over
it.
the, okay.
Thank you.
Report from the City Council representative. He is not here. Report from the Commission's attorney. She is here.
Yes, just need to determine where we stand on the outstanding appeals, along with the broken record on those, and get those scheduled as soon as possible.
Talk into the microphone.
Sorry.
I'm an old man, I can't
Sorry.
hear.
What I said was, we just need to determine where we stand on the outstanding appeals, and now on a broken record on those, we need to get those scheduled as soon as we can.
Okay.
All right. Report from Union Local 475. Nothing to report? Thank you. Since he just walked in, report from City Council representative. Do you have anything to report? Not at this time. Not at this time.
Well, could
Fantastic. Sure.
Just one thing, if you would, please. Sometimes I get the information, but sometimes I get it late. When they establish the council hearing dates, especially for obviously the fire commission, could you make sure that you let us know?
On the budget?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is report from Chief Randy Novak.
Good evening. First thing I'd like to do is introduce to you our most recent hire. He doesn't even know that he gets to stand up, and this is Kevin Fast. He just started on July 8th, and he'll be attending the academy at the end of the month versus September. So, are there any questions you have of him? But this is Kevin. So,
Welcome aboard.
I'd like to thank Commissioner Williams for coming out and helping us at our annual Friends with Disabilities boat ride this last Friday. If anybody's never been there, once a year we team up with the Charter Boat Association and some other organizations, the Port Authority, and we take approximately 300 plus clients for a boat ride, and then we cook them hamburgers and hot dogs down at the down in the basin there by the behind Fish Camp. So it was a great event, even though it was delayed somewhat with the car wedged in the bridge. So there were a couple buses with clients that, because they had to make the detour around there, they got lost and they weren't able to make it down there. So it's an unfortunate, but the bridge incident, aside from losing a car, everything went good. So.
I think you ought to get a picture of that and just hang it on the fire department wall at Michigan Boulevard. That's a real one.
It's interesting. I'm sure there'll be more details coming out on exactly how that happened. So we're waiting on information back from Public Safety Medical regarding the next individual that's on the list. We're currently short one individual right now. That individual is clearing Public Safety Medical. We hope to have him in line to join Firefighter Vast and Firefighter Kubit. I don't know if you've met Firefighter Kubit. He's the other probationary that's going to the academy also. So I didn't mean to slight you, but I just realized that he was sitting here also. So what a unique opportunity this is, because a lot of times we hire them and they shoot off to the academy. You don't get to see them. So this is Jake Kubith. He's a legacy. His dad was a firefighter. Is there anything you'd like to say, Jake?
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Glad
luck.
to have you.
Work anniversaries for the month of August. Excuse me. Lieutenant Judd Rose has 26 years. Operator Dan Legault has a work anniversary. He has 25. Andrew Now's 23. Lemon Kelly has 5, and I have 33 years this month. So that completes my report.
Thank you, Chief. Under old business, we have an update on applications. Applications received for the testing. At the time the agenda went out, there was 12 that was missing information. We had 28 that was completed. There may be more that ended up completing as people were bringing in their information. Other old business.
I have a motion on one of the firefighters that we previously went through and set up some requirements. And I would move that driver operator be restored to full pay, and that at the end of 6 months, the fire chief, Chief Randy Novak, give us an evaluation of how that 6-month period turned out.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Pollack, seconded by Mr. Zach Noun. Roll call. Mr. Deutscher.
Yes.
Mr. Pollack.
Yes.
Me, yes. Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Zach Noun.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. I guess along with the testing information, I forgot to actually say the testing date is August 17th, if I didn't say that. Okay? So they'll come in. They are meeting at the Fire Administration Building at 8 a.m. Mr. Williams?
Doors open at 8, and you must be seated by 8:20.
Okay.
Test begins at 8:30.
Okay. So hopefully that all this information that was missing is brought in and taken care of, and we should end up with about 40 people taking the test, which would be fantastic. New business. Is there any new business? New business, the only thing I have is the fact that we're going to be doing our agility testing. Is that what you wanted to talk
Yeah,
about?
that's what I.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say we need to set the date for
Okay.
the.
Agility testing, so once the written testing is out of the way, they'll receive the letters. The agility testing will be September 21st. Between the time that the letters come out, there will also be 2 practice tests. Is that right, Mr. Williams?
Yeah, we have to practice.
Practice sessions, okay. So that'll take care of the agility testing. Anything else under new business? Nothing? Public comment?
Mark Baker, Lieutenant on the Michigan City Fire Department. You guys got a lot of stuff going on and everything with your testing, but yet I hear nothing on our promotional stuff here. We're a year out from the next promotional test. We had a lot of controversy this last one. I fell victim to the thing. I have to agree, disagree with you, but I have to go with your saying. But can we do something to get this on the agenda and get it straightened out so this next testing period, which is only a year away, it's straightened out and everybody knows what the rules are going into it instead of trying to figure it out after the test has been taken. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment? Public comment? Public comment? Public comments closed. Commission comments? Commissioners, any comments? Commission comments? Commission comments are closed. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
We're adjourned.